Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's session. My name is Henry Williams, and I am really excited to spend the next hour with you exploring the world of artificial intelligence. Just a bit about me. I've been building various technologies for quite a while now, and I have had the opportunity to do this across different organizations, startups, to large enterprises, spanning multiple sectors and countries. What I've noticed over the period of time which I've been doing this is is that AI has moved from this abstract futuristic concept which we basically see in movies and stuff like that into something that's fundamentally changing and basically changing how we build and think about technology today. We are and today we are going to take a practical journey through AI. This isn't just going to be overly academic or theoretical. I want this to be as useful for you as possible, whether you are just curious about AI or you are thinking about how to apply it in your work. We'll cover the fundamentals. We'll see some real examples, and I will actually show you some of these tools in action. So let's go straight into it. All right, so here's our agenda for today. We are going to cover quite a bit, but I promise to keep it as engaging as practical as possible. First, um we'll talk about what AI really is, because there's a lot of hype and misconception out there, and I want to cut through that from my own perspective. Then we'll explore the landscape and key technologies that make it work. We'll dive into the machine learning fundamentals. Don't worry, I'll keep it as sensible and as accessible as possible. We'll spend some good time on large language models and generative AI, which is probably most, or rather, what most of you have heard about recently with ChatGPT, Gemini, Banana, and others. And here's what's all right, here is where it's going to get fun. I'll actually show you some live demonstrations. We'll also talk about real world applications, the challenges we face, and importantly, the ethical considerations, because this is quite crucial. We'll look at where this is all heading to and what it all means for us practically. And let's see, we'll save some time at the end for any questions, should there be any. All right, let's go to the next slide then. So, what is AI really? Let's break it down into chunks. At its core, artificial intelligence refers to systems that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. Now that sounds like it's very broad, and rather, it is basically. But here's what that actually means in practice. AI systems have key capabilities. They can learn from data. They can recognize patterns. They can um, sometimes these patterns that we have as humans, they might that we humans basically might miss. They can make decisions based on that learning. They can understand and generate language, and they can perceive and interpret their environment. But here's the thing I want to emphasize, and this is rather really important. AI is not magic. It is not magic in any way. It's not conscious in any way, at least for now. It's not thinking the way you and I think. It's just basic mathematics, further maths and stuff like that. It's statistics, it's various algorithms processing vast amounts of data to find patterns and make predictions. And when you hear someone say, "Oh, AI decided," or AI thinks, what's really happening is that a mathematical model is calculating probabilities based on patterns learned from historical data or like data which is feeding on. Understanding this will probably help us use AI more effectively and also help us understand its limitations. Um, so now let's talk about how AI is organized. Think of it as a family tree. At the top, we have artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence as a broad field. This encompasses everything we are talking about today within AI. We have machine learning, which is where systems learn from data rather than being explicitly programmed. This is more or less like a subset of artificial intelligence. So all machine learning is AI in basics, but not all AI is machine learning. Then within machine learning, we have deep learning, which uses neural networks structured inspired by the way the human brain works to learn massive amounts of data. Then we also have deep learning, or rather, I would say deep learning is what powers most of the impressive AI you see today. And most recently, we have generative AI, which is specific to application of deep learning that can create new content, text, images, code, music, just you name it. For each layer builds on the previous one. And so when you are using something like ChatGPT or Gemini, you're actually using generative AI, which is built on deep learning, which is also built on machine learning, which is part of the broader AI field. Understanding this, understanding this whole hierarchy is really helpful because it helps you understand what kind of AI you are dealing with and what it can and can't do, so you don't misuse it or use it for what you shouldn't do. So let's talk about machine learning in basics. That's one of the hierarchy in AI. Machine learning in a bit more detail because this is like the engine that powers the modern artificial intelligence. There are three types of machine learning, and each one works differently. First, we have the supervised learning. This is where you train a model with labeled examples. Think of it like teaching a child. You show them, let's say, pictures of cats, dogs. You tell them this is a cat, this is a dog. Eventually, they learn to identify them on their own as time goes on. A practical example is more or less like an email spam detection. You train the model with emails labeled as spam or not spam, and it learns to classify new emails as time goes on. Let's say phishing emails. As time goes on, when you feed the system with all these kind of things, all these kind of data sets, it tends to learn on it and is able to identify it and categorize it as it needs to. Secondly, we have the unsupervised learning. Here, the model finds patterns in data without being told what to look for. It's like giving someone a box of mixed buttons, asking them to organize them. They might group them by color. They might also group them by size or shape without you telling them how this is used. Without you telling them how this is used a lot. And this is basically used a lot in customer segmentation, finding natural groupings in your customer base, and so on. And third, we have the reinforcement learning. This is um this is learning through trial and error. Rewards for good actions, penalties for bad ones. Think of training a dog. When they do something right, they get a treat, and this is how AI systems learn to play. They play games like chess and so on. They go at a superhuman level in various games. They can even play a Call of Duty as time goes on. They play millions of games against themselves by learning what moves lead to winning. And each of these approaches has different use cases, and often real world AI systems combine multiple approaches. As I will basically speak about them as time goes. Now, we get the most. I think we've gotten to one of the most exciting parts, um, which is large language models or LLMs. So, what are these called exactly? What are these exactly? LLMs are AI models that have been trained on absolutely massive amounts of text data. We are talking about significant portions of the internet, like pulling data from different sources, such as just just the internet, like let's say Twitter, from Facebook, from news outlets, from anything in as much as it's on the internet, and also from books, from articles, code repositories, and more. These models work by predicting what word or token should come next based on the context they've given. They have billions, yes, sometimes hundreds of billions of parameters, which are the values the model adjusts during the training. So let me give you the examples you've probably heard of. There's ChatGPT from OpenAI, which powers there's GPT from OpenAI actually, which powers ChatGPT. There's Cloud from Anthropic, this I think I'm actually pointing to it. There's also there's Gemini from Google, which actually look at which I think we'll look at it in the next slide or in the next couple of slides. So and there's LLAMA from Meta, which is interesting because it's open source and it's anything open source is actually quite enticing. What can these models do? Well, this well, they can write, they can analyze, they can text, they can help you with coding, they can reason through problems, they can translate between languages, and the list goes on and on and on. But it's important to understand they are still predicting patterns from their training data. So it is whatever goes into them that they are learning from, and they don't really understand in the human sense. So now I will probably show you one of these in action. So I am going to open Google Gemini, which I already have opened yet, and I will then ask it a few couple of questions. Just give me a minute. Let's see, explain quantum computing to a 10-year-old. All right. So once I submitted it, to basically bring me back a couple of results. Let's just wait for it's basically learning. So imagine you have a giant complicated maze, blah 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 blah. Yeah, quantum computer difference. How does it work? So as you can see, it generates this response. It's clear. It's adapted to the audience level I have specified, which is the 10-year-old in there, and it uses analogies. So I'll just go back to my screen. This is basically the power of LLMS. They can adapt to their communication style based on context. So here we go to the next slide, and I will be talking about the next one, which is generative AI capabilities. And this is the technology that's been making headlines so far. Currently, we've already talked about text generation with like LLMs like ChatGPT, Cloud, and Gemini. But generative AI goes far beyond text. We have image generation tools like DALL-E, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, and so on and so forth. And in this generative AI, you can basically describe an image in words by just typing it out, and these systems will create it for you. If you want a photograph of an astronaut riding a horse, let me go into Gemini. Gemini released a version which is called Gemini Banana. So we'll be making use of Gemini Banana to create like a text to image. I will be, let's say for example now, I want a photograph of an astronaut riding a horse. Riding a horse on Mars. Then it's no, not on Mars, on Mars. Hopefully it's correct that because they tend to learn and they tend to do like English, like language checkouts and stuff like that to be able to correct misspellings and stuff like that. So we just wait for it to come on. It's a generation. It has evaluated my prompts. It has analyzed what it needs to analyze. Now it has presented me with the image. So this, I have my image of an astronaut riding a horse on Mars. So with this stuff, you can basically be anywhere. Just put in your prompt, put in your image, it will generate what it needs to, what you require of it. And let's go back to the next slide. Then there's this part of it where it generates code. So it's like GitHub Copilot can write code alongside you suggesting entire functions based on the comments you write. So your prompts and your comments and stuff like that really matters when it comes to what it will produce to you. Sometimes it can be quite confusing sometimes. So let's see. Cursor and Replit AI are taking this even further, helping developers build entire applications faster. There's I mentioned cloud AI. It is also good when it comes to coding, and it doesn't come there. We now have AI that can generate music, create realistic voices, generate video content, clone your voice, even create 3D models. And here's what's crucial to understand: these systems, and they are not just retrieving or copying existing content, they are also creating new content based on patterns they've learned. When Dolly creates an image of an astronaut, or when Gemini creates an image of an astronaut on Mars, just as I've shown you just a couple of seconds ago, it's not finding that image somewhere. It's generating a completely new image based on what it's learned about astronauts, horses, and Mars. And how to combine visual concepts to be able to give you that kind of results which I just showed you like a couple of seconds ago. And for now, this is so powerful, but it also raises questions about creativity, originality, and copyright, which we'll touch on probably later on. All right, now we'll probably go to the fun part. This is, as I promised at the beginning, I'll try to make that I'll try to make it as fun as possible. So let me show you some practical ways I use AI tools. I'm going to demonstrate a few different scenarios, which different scenarios. But I really want to rely just on Gemini for now. I could open Cloud AI, but Gemini, just to show you an example, and I'll be using, like, I won't be creating new chats. I'll be basically using the same one. So with this now, let me show you like a code generation. I'm going to go back where I am now, and not, am I on? Yes, I am on Gemini. Yeah, yeah. So let me access, write a Python, write a Python function that takes a list of temperatures in Celsius, converts them to Fahrenheit. Yeah, checking. I'm going to correct this later on as time goes, and I want to make sure it handles errors gracefully. Remember, I said you also need to make sure your prompts are in good check, so it doesn't give you what you do not require, else you have to be going back and forth trying to correct things. Yeah, write a Python function, function that takes a list of temperatures in Celsius and converts them to Fahrenheit, handles errors gracefully, and includes documentation. Yeah. So I will be telling you to just go ahead to provide me what I just requested for. Now, what it does, it's comparing conversation, it's formulating the function, it's improving increased robust, it's confirming the robustness. I will open it up. So this is what is basically doing. It is thinking. Remember, I said something about AI, deep learning neural networks, trying to replicate the functionality of the human brain. This is what it's doing at this point in time. And here we are. It has generated a complete function with error handling documentation and even example usage. Now, so I wouldn't just copy paste this into production without. Yes, see, I won't just copy this and just paste it to production without reviewing it. But this also saves me significant time. I can use this as a starting point and refine it as time goes on. It can also be good when it comes to problem solving. So I'll give a real business problem. Let me just give it now and get it done with. So let's say let's see, just look for the perfect example to use. So I will be focusing on an e-commerce now. I have an e-commerce. I'm typing it correctly yet. Size width is 70%. 7%. Here you are. One cuts. Rates. The top 5 reasons. So 5 reasons this might be happening. And how can I test which one is the main? All right. Just gonna review. Yeah, elements. Yeah, case. And all right, the rest are just typos. So when type and submit, it's help you do your analysis. Help you do your. It's basically going to solve the problem for you in a couple of seconds, and you have your thing. Now I'm just thinking through this. It's giving me hypothesis. Basically that's what it's doing. Yeah, as there is our result. And this is more or less like having a consultant available to you at like 24/7 now, without you having to pay anything extra, just maybe your subscription fee if you want to go pro or something like that. And this is just like 1% of what artificial intelligence is all about. Now I'll show you something with data analysis. I'll ask it a couple of questions. I'll ask a question regarding a SaaS company that has, let's say, like 1,000 customers featured on last month or something like that, just to make sure I can show you the results. So let's go and analyze. Listener, I can play various scenarios for it. SaaS. Did I get that right? All right. SaaS company. Let's see, churn last month, average revenue. Let's see, per custom at 100 per month. And what's to this numbers? So, all right, so I just give it my analytical question. I'm going to wait for you to review the response. So while we're waiting, just maybe enjoy enjoy the period. Yep, there you have it. It has basically calculated how it's calculated the customer churn rate, calculated its metrics, and so on and so forth, providing context and suggesting what to monitor, just what to track, next phase, and it provides you a summary table. And it also asks you, would you like me to calculate how many new customers this company needs to acquire? So it's more or less like you having your data, you having so many things at your hand, at the grab of your finger and stuff like that, for you to be able to carry out your function, your job function. And once more, I will also give it lastly, I'll give it a creative tax. So let's see which can I say it should generate for me now. Let's see. All right. Creates 5 headlines. Options for a blog post about productivity. Productivity tips for a remote worker or rather for workers. Engaging and SEO friendly. All right, I'm just going to review my prompts. Look at headline options for tips remote worker, blah blah blah. Yeah. All right, Asa. Just gonna wait for you to provide me the necessary stuff. As usual, it's thinking based on and learn and trying to give you response based on everything it has learned over a period of time and live, as it's also feeding from live stuff to be able to provide this result. Here we are. So it has provided me a list um of five of them as I requested. Listicle, just white words, SEO keywords, and so on and so forth. And it also provides you. So this could also be a good thing for people that are maybe writers, content writers, content creators, and stuff like that. And this kind of task could take like 30 minutes of brainstorming, and we got it in just like a few seconds. So I'll go back to my few seconds. Going back to my slide. So I would really like to point out the fact that this demo is to show you that AI is a practical tool, so you can use right now. It's not perfect, but it's incredibly useful. If I go to my next. All right, let me take you back and explain the technology that actually makes all this possible. You recall that I've been saying that AI was basically the old AI was basically built to be able to replicate the human intelligence into a computer. And you heard me talking about neural network. So neural network now is or rather neural networks are structures inspired by the human brain. Now they are not actually human brains. They are not human brains that you pull out of bodies and just put them into a computer. No. They are mathematical models. But the inspiration comes from how neurons in our brain are connected. So here's how they actually work. You have an input layer that receives your data. This could be pixels from an image, words from a sentence, whatever it may be. Then you have hidden layers where the processing happens. Then finally, you have an output layer that gives you prediction or results, as you saw how I experimented it in Gemini. So when we talk about deep learning, the deep refers to having many of these hidden layers, sometimes hundreds of layers stacked on top of each other. Each connection between neurons has like what's called a weight, a number that determines how important that connection is. When you train a neural network, where you are actually what you're actually when you train a neural network, what you're actually doing is just adjusting all these weights so that the network's prediction gets better and better with time. Think of it like turning thousands or rather millions or billions of knobs until the system performs well. Or rather, I don't know, there's something that we used to experience back home where I come from, Nigeria. When you are charging your phone, Android users basically, when you're charging your phone, the cable, you sometimes have to adjust it and twist it until it starts charging. Things like that. Just think of it like that. At first, the predictions are random, but as you show it more and more examples, adjusting the weights each time based on whether it was right or wrong, it gradually learns to make accurate predictions. And this process requires a massive amount of data and computing power, which is why AI is really taking off in recent years. We now have both. Physically, we have gotten to, how will I put it? Please note that AI has actually been in existence before now. It's just recently became a big thing based on the fact that people are becoming more opportunities to see it and stuff like that. Now I will talk about the real world applications of artificial intelligence. Um, now AI is actually being used in various areas of the world, in various real world scenarios, in various organizations. Even you yourself, you are using AI, but you might just not know it just yet, depending on your level of exposure to it. Because this is where it gets really interesting. In healthcare, for example, AI is being used for disease diagnosis, analyzing medical images to detect cancers, and sometimes better than human doctors. It's also accelerating drug discovery, which traditionally takes decades and billions of dollars. For example, I came across the news that was that doctors were actually carrying out surgeries with use of artificial intelligence right from their house. So the doctor was at home and he was basically controlling the machine from where he was, and it was doing what performing the surgery on the animal and stuff like that, and it was quite successful. That's just one bit of it. In finance, for example, we have fraud detection systems that can spot unusual patterns in transactions in real time. Trading of greetings use AI, like trading of greetings. Also, when like let's say when you want to buy crypto and stuff like that, it's those charts that you see in the likes of your Binance and stuff like that. They also use AI to make split-second decisions in the markets. In transportation, for example, it's really being transformed. Self-driving cars, autonomous cars like the one that Elon Musk released, the one which Uber is also um using in the likes of the US and some other countries. And while these are quite obvious examples, AI is also optimizing delivery routes, predicting maintenance needs for vehicles, managing traffic flow in cities, and so on and so forth. For example, I was driving down a particular street, and I could equally just see the prompts which it just prompted on my dashboard, notifying me of a car coming to my left or a car coming to my right and stuff like that. AI is doing way more than that as of now. Even in at the ports, custom ports, where it is carrying containers. I think it was in China that there is practically less humans, more machines doing those things by themselves. And in business, AI-powered chatbots are handling customer services and they are getting much better. Process automation is using basically AI to handle repetitive tasks that used to require human judgment. So when I talk about these chatbots, think about times when you have a complaint like with your bank or with a particular provide service provider, let's say Amazon, and you reach out to them through their support team. The first point you will get to, the agent you'll be speaking to, is going to be the AI chatbot. And it's going to ask you a set of questions which you pick up from. Based on what you answer, it's going to give you a response. And if it's also asks you if you would like to speak to a human, then from there you can move to a human. But you see how it's actually cutting down the cost of having to hire people, and how it saves companies time in terms of dealing with queries and stuff like that. And it also comes to light when it comes to phone calls, like calling certain banks, for example. You speak to AI first before you now skip to the human part. Can be annoying, I admit it, but it is what it is as of now. It is actually helping and it is learning and it is being improved upon to reduce that feeling of it being a bot. And in the creative industry, it is really being disrupted as at now, even as we speak. You open your Twitter, open your TikTok, open your Facebook, open your Instagram, you see different people creating different content using AI and stuff like that. Whether it's writing or marketing or generating images for campaigns, it's really being augmented by AI. Designers are using AI as an assistant, and in software development, I think I showed you an example a few steps back where I was trying to where I prompted it to provide me a particular script for me to be able to use. Imagine the capabilities of this, which of many of you might like be directly interested in. Like, yeah, AI is assisting with code writing, detecting bugs, generating text, even helping with system design. I I know a couple of few UX designers that are currently using AI to generate Figma tools and so on and so forth. And the key thing is, in most of these applications, AI is augmenting human capabilities, not replacing them entirely. It's so that makes us more effective. So it's something we basically should be working hand in hand with. Now, you've seen what AI can do. Let me share a little let me share a little bit of the best practices for using it effectively, because there's definitely a skill to it. I won't lie, you need to have an idea about it. While it is being simplified, you also need to be able to know what to do and what not to do. First, I will say you should be specific. Be very specific in your prompts. The quality of what you get out is directly related to what you put in. Instead of saying, instead of you just saying, write a code for a website, you should probably put it in a more defined way, such as write an HTML and CSS for a responsive navigation bar with a logo on the left and menu items on the right, and that collapses to a hamburger or menu or a mobile. Things like that. You need to be specific so it doesn't just give you a ton of different things which you do not need, and you have to start correcting it again and start from square one again. That can be really frustrating. Second, iterate. I would say you should, I would say iteration for one. You should iterate and refine. Your first attempt is really going to be perfect. So don't kill yourself on the fact that you're not getting it immediately. If the output isn't quite what you want, tell the AI what to adjust. Make more or less like make it shorter. Use more technical language, hand examples. You can have a conversation with it. And third, give it context. Provide context to it. So I want to, let's assume I want to write a note on, let's say, how the sun rises. I would basically have to tell it the background of why I'm trying to write a note on how the sun rises and stuff like that. So the more relevant information you give the AI, the better it can help you. And if you are asking for code, tell it what language, what framework, what the constraints are. And if you are asking for business advice, tell it about your industry, your audience, your goals, and so on and so forth. So it can give you a precise response and a reasonable response when it comes back. And the next one, the fourth one, which, and this is crucial, very crucial, verify the output. Don't just take everything it gives to you and just put it in, especially if it comes to coding and stuff like that. AI can be confidentially wrong and it can hallucinate facts, make up references, or give you code that looks right but doesn't actually work, except you now test it and you now find out that, oh, this thing actually doesn't work. Make sure you always review and test. Make sure you always verify it. Don't just trust it blindly. At least someone cannot hold you and be leading you into the fire and says that, okay, just follow me, and you will follow. You will also ask questions and please the person to be like, why are you taking me to, why are you taking me there, and stuff like that. So don't trust it blindly. And finally, use it as an assistant, not autopilot. Don't let it take your cognitive thinking, and don't let it take off the ability for you to think on your own. Use it as an assistant. You are still in control. You still make decisions. You are still the one making decisions. AI is a tool to make you more productive, not to replace your judgment and expertise. Think of it like having a really knowledgeable intern or a really knowledgeable personal assistant who works incredibly fast, but sometimes makes mistakes and needs supervision. And that is you. You are the one supervising it. You are the one who is to correct it when it needs to be corrected. Talking of, now, having said that, let's talk about the challenges and the limitations. Oh, I think my image was actually good. Just for you to know, this image was generated, this particular one was generated using AI. So because it's important to have realistic expectations. First, hallucinations. Like AI models can confidently state things that are completely false. They make up research papers that doesn't exist. They cite statistics that are wrong or generate code with non-existent functions. And this happens because they are pattern matching. They are basically pattern matching machines, not knowledge database. Secondly, they are biased. These models are trained on human generated data, and human data contains biases, racial gender nonsense, cultural stuffs, limits, and so on and so forth. If the training data is biased, then the model's output will be biased. Companies are working on this, but it's really difficult. It's a difficult problem, based on the fact that it's actually picking up data from different data points, from the internet, from books, and all this. Where it's picking it up from was basically generated by humans, and these humans basically have different perspectives to things. And thirdly, the lack of true understanding is a thing also, as these models don't actually understand what they are saying. They are very sophisticated pattern matchers, and they can appear to reason, but they don't have consciousness or genuine comprehension. As you have seen when I was showing you in Gemini, it's when I gave it a few prompts, it was thinking. That word thinking, it was, please don't believe that it is just gathering information. So I'll say they can appear to reason, but they don't have consciousness or genuine comprehension. And fourth, the context limits. Most models have limits on how much information they can process at once. You can't just feed them an entire code base or a whole library of documents and expect perfect understanding of everything. And the fifth, real-time information. Most models have a knowledge of cut-off dates. They don't know what happened yesterday unless they are specifically designed with search capabilities. And even then, it's an added feature, not their core capability. Sixth, the cost. Training these models cost millions of dollars and requires massive computing resources sometimes. Running them at a scale is really expensive. And this is why most advanced AI currently controlled by big tech companies such as Microsoft and the likes, and Google, and are mostly limited and really paid for. They are subscription based basically. And finally, the environmental impacts. When I say the environmental impact, don't just think about climate change, but it's part of it. The energy required to train and run these models is really significant. There's a real carbon footprint here, that we need to also consider. Understanding these limitations, which I had just said, and which I am currently showing you on here, um, will help us use AI more effectively and basically ethically. I hope. Yes, I hope. All right. So now let's talk about the ethics, because this is critically important as AI becomes more powerful and widespread. Some people have the idea of AI, this AI will probably take over the world one day and stuff like that. I really don't believe in that. Um, so as AI in the aspect of privacy and data protection, it's really a major concern. Big tech companies are already taking it very serious. Governments are really down on big tech companies and any other company that's coming out talking about AI, bringing AI stuff into play. These models are trained on these models are trained on vast amounts of data. And where did this data come from? Did people actually consent to their data being used this way? When you use AI services, what happens to the data you input? Job displacement is real, very real. While AI often augments rather than replaces, some jobs will actually be automated. We need to think about how society handles this transition, retraining programs, social safety nets, new job creation. I think the United Kingdom is currently rolling out a whole lot of AI skills programs and stuff like that. And other companies, other countries as well are actually jumping on this as well. And AI, one of the other ethical consideration is artificial misinformation and deepfakes, which are a growing threat. As AI now can generate convincing fake images, videos, and audio. So let me show you, for example, generates an image of Donald Trump. No, Donald, no, yeah, Donald Trump in the White House with Tupac. I don't know why I picked Tupac. Tupac is dead. We all know Tupac is dead. So what it does is, based on that images, it generates real fake stuff for me. I know Donald Trump is the current president of the White House, but Tupac is dead. Let's wait and see the result. A lot of people I can help with, but I can't repeat some figures to you. Okay, yes. So while this is actually there, it's complete. Like I said, companies are actually cracking down on AI, trying to make sure they are in line to make sure privacy and data is actually in check. More or less, like one of the reasons why it says it can't depict some public figures and ask you if you have something else in mind. All right, we'll skip that. But in recent in the last image I showed you um with the with the horse and the astronaut, which was riding on Mars. We all know that is fake, but to some people that could be real to them if it's viewed incorrectly. For example, we saw examples during recent elections in some countries. How so? We will not ask how do we maintain or trust in media when anything can be faked, autonomous weapons and stuff like that. Anybody can be in his house and just fire the missile from anywhere, and it goes to hit a particular country. So there's serious concern about AI being used in military applications, particularly in autonomous weapons that can make kill decisions without human intervention. Copyright and intellectual property is another huge major thing, as AI is trained on copyrighted material, who owns what is created. If it generates code similar to copyrighted code, is this infringement and stuff like that? Excuse me. These are unsettled legal questions that are up to today. Transparency and explainability. Many of many AI systems are black boxes. We can't easily explain why they are made, we, or rather why they make a particular decision. As this is quite problematic in and is critical in applications like healthcare, lending, or criminal justice. And finally, I didn't put it on the slide. Concentralization of power, concentration of power rather. Right now, the most powerful AI models are controlled by a handful of companies, like as I mentioned, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Facebook, not Facebook, Meta, and Microsoft. Yes, this concentration of technological power has societal implications, which is not really public like that, but should be public. These aren't easy problems with simple solutions. We need thoughtful governance, we need regulations, and ongoing dialogue. As people working with or using AI, we have a responsibility as well. It's not just down to the government, it's not just down to the companies. We have a responsibility as well to consider these ethical dimensions while we are using them. All right. Let's take a look at the current landscape. What are the major players? You heard me in the previous slide talking about the likes of Microsoft and the rest. So what are the current major players in AI as of right now? OpenAI is probably the most well-known thanks to ChatGPT, which brought AI to mainstream awareness. They are developed by GPT-4, one of the most capable language models available. Google Mind, Google DeepMind has Gemini, we have, which is what we've been using today, and they are also created by AlphaFold, which solved like a 50-year-old problem in biology by predicting protein structures. And this is AI having a real scientific impact. Anthropic, for example, Cloud AI, founded by former OpenAI researchers who created Cloud. They are focused on AI safety and building more reliable, honest AI systems. So among all these AI applications, among all these AI softwares, among all these AI websites and so on, when it comes to coding, I will basically say Cloud AI is one of my top fave when it comes to trying to get something solved right on time. It's and their Cloud AI, for example, is focused on, like I said, safety and building more reliable, honest AI systems. Meta, for example, the makers of Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, released Llama, which is significant because it's open source. This means researchers and developers can actually access and modify the model, not just use it through an API. Microsoft has deeply integrated AI across all their products, Power BI, PowerPoint, Word, Excel, you name it, and so on and so forth. Power Platform Azure Cloud Platform, and so on and so forth. And they have extensive AI services. Amazon through AWS provides AI services to businesses, everything from machine learning infrastructure to pre-built AI models. Then there's the open source movement platforms like Hugging Face, which are democratizing AI by also thousands of models that anyone can use. Stable Diffusion brought which brought about image generation to the masses as an open alternative to proprietary tools such as Gemini, which you have to pay for a subscription for to use a pro level kind of stuff. And this is a rapidly evolving landscape. New players are currently emerging, existing players from form partnerships, and the technology advances most weekly, like almost weekly or rather daily. You hear one new thing about AI being developed or this done. So what's exciting is that access to AI is becoming more democratized over time, and people start gaining access to it in real time. So I was saying, looking now, from where it came from now and where it's going to. So where is it heading? Let's have a look at different time frames basically. In the next the next 1 year to 3 years, we are going to be experiencing or seeing a AI become much integrated into everyday tools we use. It's already being integrated into our phones. It's already being integrated into cleaning household equipment and stuff like that. It won't be separate. It won't be something separate, or rather, it won't be a separate thing you go to. It will be embedded in your email. Google is already doing that. Microsoft is already doing that. Your documents, your development, your environment, the cars you see around. Let's say if you're living in the US, there are autonomous cars. There are cars driving themselves. We'll see there are cars also, flying cars which are also being built. We see better multimodal capabilities, AI that seamlessly works with text, images, audio, video together, and we will see improved efficiency, making these models cheaper and faster to run in the medium term. And in the medium term, let's say 3 to 10 years out, we'll likely see AI agents that can complete complex multi-step tasks autonomously. Now, I want you to imagine telling an AI plan like plan my vacation to, let's say, Japan or to San Francisco or to Cape Town or to Nigeria, and it will book the flights, hotels, create an itinerary, and handles all the logistics all for you. We're likely to see significant scientific breakthroughs as well, accelerated by AI in medicine, materials science, climate modeling, and we'll see real transformation in education and work, personalized learning at a huge scale. We'll see new job categories emerging based on the introduction of the AI into various sectors. And long term, there are big questions. Will we actually achieve artificial intelligence? Or rather, will we actually achieve artificial general intelligence? AI that can perform any task a human can perform. What experts in this case actually disagree on widely on the timeline. Some say decades, some say never, some say it could happen sooner than we think. What kind of societal transformation would this bring about is a big question on various people's mind. How will human creativity and work evolve when AI can handle many cognitive tasks is also one thing that is on various people's mind. What new forms of human AI collaboration will emerge? I don't have answers to this currently, sorry. I really don't have answers to these questions at the moment, and nobody does that now. But what I can do now is, or rather, what I do know now is AI will continue to be a transformative force, and staying informed is and adaptable is really crucial to especially people in the working category and to anyone and everyone. All right then. So what does it mean for you particularly? Let me give you some concrete steps. Um, let's say if you are going to AI, if you want to use AI and stuff like that, start experimenting now. Don't just wait until you fully understand AI to start using it. Besides, you can use it to learn as well. You can use it to learn about it as well. The best way to learn is by doing. Sign up to various chat platform, GPT chat platforms. Let's say ChatGPT is available, Cloud AI is available, Gemini is available, and most of these things are free. They are free tiers. However, if you want to use the most advanced, you have to pay for them. Start using them for your daily tasks. See what works and see what doesn't. Second, on focus on AI augmented skills. The future isn't about competing with AI. It's really about being effective at working alongside with it. So if you see you are actually competing with it or it's going to take your job, then I really think I am of the idea that you need to revisit yourself and probably upskill yourself so you don't get thrown out of the workforce just like the industrial age. So learn to prompt effectively by understanding what AI is good at and what it's not good at. Develop skills that are complementary to AI. And critical thinking is really important. Creativity, emotional intelligence, strategic planning. Stay informed. Don't just don't just throw yourself off. Stay informed. Move as this field basically moves really, really fast. What's cutting edge today might be outdated in 6 months, 2 months. Follow developments, but don't feel like you need to understand everything. Focus on what's relevant to your work and interest. And the fourth is think critically. There's a whole lot of hype around AI currently. Everybody has a suggestion on what AI is currently, even if they know what it is or if they don't know what it is. Some of them are being hyped, like everybody just wants to trend and stuff like that. That's from my view. Some of it is justified and some really isn't. So the question everything you hear when it comes to AI. Understand the limitations. Don't just assume AI is always the answer. Sometimes simpler solutions are really better. And the fifth, consider ethics. As you use AI, think about the implications this might have. Are you using it responsibly? Are you letting it do all the thinking for you while hibernating your own brain? Are you aware of its biases? Are you transparent when you use AI generated content? I believe there are recently social medias have been um integrating things that upload anything, when you upload any image or any text, their platform is able to pick that okay, this is AI generated, and it puts a tag, it adds a tag there, AI generated for anyone to know, so they don't get misinformed and stuff like that. And the goal here is not to it isn't to become an AI researcher or expert. No, it's to become an effective AI user, someone who can leverage these tools to be more productive, more creative, and more effective in your work. So, if you before you make questions, let me share some resources for continuing your learning, just in case you want to jump on it for free. So, for there are free AI tools to explore. I've mentioned ChatGPT, I've mentioned Cloud AI, I've mentioned Gemini, and multiple times, if not too many. All these three have free tiers. You can't you can start using them today. You can even start using them now. Just experiment with them, using them. Use them for your work tasks, creative projects, learning new topics. When I say your work tasks, make sure your company policy actually in line with it. So, as they really do not want you putting out data, complete data out there without consent. So please have that in mind as well. That's if you're working. You can use it for learning resources, um, or rather for learning resources if you want to go deeper into the technical side. Just like myself, Fast.ai offers a fantastic course called Practical Deep Learning for Coders. It's free and focuses on getting you building things quickly rather than just theory. It's just not about theory. You'll be hands on. There's someone in Andrew Ng's machine learning course on Coursera. I really would say you should also check that out. It's a classic. It's more mathematical and theoretical. If you hate maths, I'm so sorry, but it gives you solid foundations. And for staying current with research in accessible way, check out 2 Minute Papers on YouTube. They explain recent AI research papers in well. Um, about 2 minutes, and they make complex topics understandable. So to stay updated, subscribe to Batch, which is Andrew Ng's newsletter about AI development, the AI Alignment Forum, which discusses AI safety and ethics. And honestly, just keeping up with your favorite tech news sites which will keep you really informed about major developments. The key here is to engage with AI regularly. Use it, learn it, and stay curious about how it's evolving. Yeah, so key takeaways, bringing us closer to the end. Um, First, based on all the session, I will say the first key takeaway is AI is not a tool. AI is a tool, rather, it's not a magic. It's not a magic one you can just flap around. It's mathematics and statistics applied to large data sets. Understanding this helps you to use it better and maintain realistic expectations. Secondly, AI is already transforming industries, as we know now. This isn't futuristic speculation anymore. It's not just something you see in a Spielberg movie. It's not just something you see in sci-fi movies. It's something that is actually being brought into actual reality. Um, in healthcare, finance, education, software development, creative industries, all are being changed by AI as we speak. Thirdly, the key is to learn to work with AI, not just against it, not against it, rather. I know people have the fear of what it might actually do, and that fear of it taking the job. It won't take your job, except your job can be automated. Even if it will take your job and your work can be automated, learn it so you can be the one to control it, as it still needs people to control it and supervise it. So think of it as a very capable assistant that can amplify your abilities. Fourthly, always be aware of its limitation and ethics. AI has biases, it can be wrong, it has societal implications. Use it thoughtfully and responsibly. And fifth, I would say love it, basically. So I would say I love something. I love saying something. The best time to start learning is about now, or rather yesterday. So the best time to start learning AI or using AI is like yesterday. So the second best time is now. Yeah, I think I got it. I finally remembered it. Yeah, that's it. So don't put this off. Start experimenting today, and finally, stay curious, stay critical, stay informed, be curious about new developments, be critical about claims and outputs. Even if people say that you are basically overdoing, keep going, keep going. You are basically acquiring knowledge, even when it seems like you're not acquiring knowledge. Stay informed, because this field changes rapidly. The AI revolution isn't coming, it's already here. And you now have the foundational knowledge to be part of it effectively. I just blessed you with it. All right. So that will be all for me. And I will say thank you for joining in.